Hello, this is Abina at Cross Keys Crafts. Today my video starts slightly different because you can't see my hands, they are here at the moment. I thought I'd show you something on my laptop before I show you what I will actually do for a card. I need a 50 as a template for a mask and stencil. And rather than drawing it myself, because I need a slightly bigger number than my dies can cut for myself, I thought I will print one off with my computer and then just cut it out. But on my Word documents, I didn't have many fonts that are outline numbers. So I thought rather than working with that, I'll find an outline number on Google and I can print that off. So I thought I'd just show you what you can do there. I do apologize, I have printed mine already, and that's when I thought I better show you what I'm doing, and I don't know which one I've used. So all I've done was I put into Google, into the search here, 50 outline. And some of these pictures are free to print, some of them aren't. I personally don't sell my cards, so I don't feel guilty about using them. I don't know what the story is about showing this here in the clip. So I'm trying to pick one that says it's free. So you can put free in there as a tool, I think. Some say printable as well. Let me click on printable. So you've got quite a few numbers here. I just choose I think the Pinterest one. It says it might be, what does it say? Subject to copyright, but I'll pick it anyway because it's very similar to the one I have printed off. So all I do is I press the right button on my mouse here, and that says copy image here. I can also save the image which is above it, but I just copy the image and then I open my Word program. You see, that's the one I had before. Let me just delete that. And if I now press on my keyboard Control V, that should insert that very picture, which it does. So when I click on it, this has actually got a good frame around it. The one before, I had to alter that a little bit. I have, if I can now go on to picture format at the top here, I can see what size this number is. Here at the top right, it shows it's 4.13 inches by 5.44 inches. So I can now, with my mouse, alter the size of this because I would like the number to be square. And all I do for that is I go here at the bottom with my mouse and I'm pressing the left button on my mouse, but keep it pressed and then pull at the same time, and I can watch, or rather pull it a little bit and then can watch the number in the top right and see that it has got a similar size to the actual width of it. So I've now got 5.46 inches by 5.44 inches. That will do me. And I can then go into File, Print, and print this on my computer. And then I know I've got a square number, but I've already done that. I just want to show you by going backwards, by deleting all these things and putting this number in again. This is how my number had before showed. I just want to show you on this one here how you can reduce the frame around the picture. Again, you go into picture format. I hope this is not going too fast. Then you go into crop here at the top right, go into crop, press that, and then you get these symbols, and then again by pressing and holding the left button, you can drag these and drag the frame away. You can also do it by going into crop here on the right and then go into crop, and then it will open a window normally. Oops, does it not? Aspect ratio, no. Normally opens it. Not sure now. but as I said, I always do it by dragging it, and then I've got an even frame around it, and then can do what I did before. Can also drag it on the corner before I drag it here, but this is how I created my number. So I will now set up my camera as normal, and then I'll show you what we do with that number. So what I need to do next is cut out this number. If you prefer, you can cut it with a craft knife. I don't like doing that. I'm not very good with my craft knife, so I will use my scissors, and these are my precision scissors. These are my nail scissors for the round areas. So the important thing is I need to decide where I want to cut, whether I want to cut on the outer black line or on the inner one. Because I would want quite a bit of space in the number, I will cut on the outer black line all around that. I'm not too fussed cutting these corners round. I don't mind them being a bit pointy, but I definitely want the space. And I'm not fussed about keeping this number intact. I want the outside, and I need this bit here in the middle, because as I said, I want to use this as a stencil. So what I would do is I would just take my scissors, cut here in the middle, really randomly, get a good angle to get my scissors in, and then when I'm here I start cutting. This, by the way, is just copy paper because I want to stamp on the edge as well. I really don't want a thick edge. If you wanted to, but I didn't want to waste any, you could use some masking sheets. They will allow you to stick this down afterwards, but I think, because I just want this as a single purpose thing, I think I will be fine with just the paper. So when I come to a curve like here, I would swap to my nail scissors. I'll tell you what, I will also cut this piece down just a little bit. I want a little bit of masks to cover my actual card base, but I will just go around here like this then with my nail scissors. So I will cut this now. It doesn't even matter. I could cut here now to get a better angle. It doesn't really matter. I can get rid of the number, but as I said, I want to keep the inner piece here and the outline intact. So I will now cut this off camera, because I will probably have to put it closer to me to cut it properly, and then I come back. So I've cut out my numbers. The 5 is all in pieces because I was cutting at different angles. I think that's fine. With the 0, I have left it in almost one piece, except for where I sort of tried to get the angle right, because I need to place this now in the middle. I'm working on an A4 cardstock. I don't need it the full size, but I didn't want to cut it down too much, just in case I don't get this placed in the center. So I think it's better to have the bigger size. I'm now taking my Stick It removable just to keep these 2 bits in place. So that one here, it's not rolling very nicely. I really just need a little bit to keep those in place. Might even be the end of my roller, but I think that would just be sticky enough. I also have got some Stick It spray, but I'm not 100% sure that that will actually stay in place. So what I'm doing now is I'm placing this back in here, and then I'm putting the Stick It removable on this here, so that I know where I need to place this approximately, but I don't need to eyeball this. And then I can take this off again, and then this is where it needs to be. So as I said, I'm not fussed about sticking this down. I think I'll be fine. I just have to be mindful now when I'm doing my ink blending. For the ink blending, my thought process is this. The lady whose birthday it is, she has got a corgi, and I've got a corgi stamp. I thought I actually had 2 facing the other way, but I don't. have this one. So it's just this one little here. This one is from China. I'm not going to link to anywhere below for this stamp set because it might be a dupe. I got this about 5 years ago, so as I said before in my videos, I'm not going to link to anywhere. But because I don't want to do any colouring in here, I will go in with the russet orange for the ink blending, because I would like these corgis, when I stamp them, to already have an orangey background. So I've got a bit of scrap paper here, so I can use the rest of this heavyweight cardstock. This is my 300 GSM. I can keep this for later. So I'm just putting some ink on the ink blending brush. I don't really want a lot because I want to come in with a stencil as well. So what I'm doing here now is I'm holding this down as well, and I'm just going around with a very light motion, but trying to catch everywhere to put some ink down. Trying not to make it speckled. Oops, see, this is moving now. I need to be mindful of that. You can also go into one direction if that is easier. That actually works quite nicely. So working out from the middle, although I've got a few lines there now. As I said, if you're not sure whether that would move too much for you, you can always use masking sheets. Just making sure I'm catching the edges there to have the numbers properly defined. I'm keeping my hand down, so this should still be fine. I can also lift it up a little bit. That is fine at the moment. So I will do this the same thing for the 5, and then I'll show you how we use the stencil. So I have done my light ink blending, but I'm not taking the mask off yet because I would like to put another layer on this with this stencil. This is just a brick stencil. This is from Lavinia, and I think I will just tape it down just a little bit. I will just tape it down on the mask. Does this make sense? I'm not sure. I will actually go over the edge here as well, so I've got it on the mask and on the paper underneath if that stays. So, but as always, I will keep my hand on it anyway. So, and I'm just filling this brush a little bit more to have a little bit of a heavier application now. I'm just going all the way around again. I will have to clean my hands afterwards because I think I've been ink blending my fingers as well, but that's okay. Also with a brick, I keep forgetting I need to go clockwise and anti-clockwise to catch all the edges equally, otherwise you've got a bit of a shadow, which is a look you can choose if you want that, but I'd rather have it a little bit mixed. So I do the same now for the 5 off camera, and then I'll show you the reveal. It's quite handy actually sometimes that I stop filming and put my head into gear, because obviously when I said reveal, I can't reveal the whole thing yet. I can only take off the stencil because I still want to do some stamping with the masks on. So I can take this off now. Need to wash that in a moment. So, but the reason why I said use paper is because I wanted to stamp on the edges. And I've got here, as I said, the little dog. Let me actually zoom in just a little bit, move this to the side as well. And I've got a little food bowl here, or water bowl. I've got a little tennis ball and a little bone as well. They're all from the same stamp set. So my idea is now to stamp the dog. It would be good if I was any good at mirror stamping, because then I can have him come in from the other side as well. But I think I will just place him in a few good places, or place her, because the dog that the lady has got, it's a she. Whiskey, she comes to the pub as well. You might have heard her on the other video because she likes to bark. So because these are cheap stamps, I will definitely stamp this off and have a look what this is like. So just, yeah, but the image is very crisp. So I think what I might actually do, just thinking about it, because I want to create some sort of pattern, because I can't stamp this as a mirror stamp, I might stamp it upside down as well, as if it is a pattern. So I definitely want a little dog here where I've got nothing coming on from the edge, if you know what I mean. Because I want this to look like a pattern, but I want to alter this a little bit. So I will actually put this upside down, and then it's just coming in from the side. Sorry, you can't see that at the moment because I've got my hand over it. So I've basically stamped it upside down and the body is on the mask here. So I think I will just have one here on this side. Does fit in there perfectly, so I think I'll do that, but then add a few more from random places. So the same here. Now I don't want this at the same at the top there because I think that would look awkward, so I will actually stamp this off here. Just mindful that I just put my finger in the ink pad. So have one coming from here, and if you find you would go over to the other number, just take a little piece of paper. I won't actually use this one to mask this off a little bit so that I'm not stamping back into the number 5. I don't want that. So I can put this there, and then I definitely want an upside down one somewhere. Try not to cut off the nose, I don't want that really. So, and I think now I'm coming in with a few coming from the other angles. So and I think I'll do the same on the top here, and one coming in from the top. But I'm still keeping it straight. I don't want it at a diagonal, so, but I want this to look like a pattern later. So again here, I could go across. I think I will do this here, just go across this little bit so you've got the front and the back of the dog. So I'm wondering whether that is enough. Knowing when to stop. I think I'll have another one upside down here. Cut off a little bit. And I want... yeah, no, I think I'll leave it at that, and I will fill in the rest. Or do I want another one? No, that would be too similar. And I'll fill it in the rest now with the other little stamps, but I do this off camera to keep this video short. I think with a technique like this, it's all about knowing when to stop. So I filled in the areas here with the fruit bowls and the tennis balls and the bones. With the bones, I did go in at a diagonal just to fill in the spaces a bit more nicely. So now I can take this off and this off. If I've got a bit of residue of the glue, I can just use my finger to rub that off. And then I've got a 50 with a lovely pattern, which is the stamps as well as the stencil in the background, and I think this is really, really cute. So I will now cut this to size. This, as if you remember, is something like 5 by 5, so I want to mat this. I will now go to my guillotine measure this properly, and then I'll tell you what size I have cut this to and what size I have chosen for the mat. So I've measured my 50. Remember, I printed that off before I showed you on the screen what it is. This is actually just 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches, which is not a problem. But I want to show you now why I decided not to pre-cut the cardstock, because if you look at it, the 5 is a bit wonky. So the first thing I'm going to do is now place this into my guillotine, and I'm going to, let me just push this back just a little bit. I'm going to align this 5 here on the straight plastic here of that thing, so that I know that when I cut it, this is straight. Sorry, it's a bit difficult to see, so the light is not the best. So when I cut this now, the 50 is straight. So I can now, that this one's aligned, I can now cut the top and all the way around, really. So not the top. Now that the top is straight, I can cut this aside, and then I turn it 2 more ways, and then at least I know it is equal on all sides and straight on all sides. So, sorry about the noise there. So if I do this and do that, I know I've got it equal. And I'm just, at the moment, I'm just eyeballing that this distance is the same as on the side, and I do it on the other side. And then in the second step, I'm cutting it down again on all sides, probably to get a good size for the mat. And I think I will choose, I want a 6x6 card. So if this is 4.5 by, let me just measure this here, yeah, a bit over 4.5. I think for the actual card then I will choose 5 and have the mat maybe at 5.5, but I'll have a look. Sometimes I think about these numbers and then I cut it differently when I actually look at it. Here's my finished card. I ended up cutting this to 5.25 by 5.25. I thought this made a nice frame. How I cut this down is basically like this. I chop a little bit off and then go round, chop a little bit off more until I find the right size, but be careful not to chop off too much. Then I created this orange mat. This is actually a slightly shiny orange cardstock, which I thought was really nice. That's just for my stash. I know I bought that in a local craft store, and that's 5.5 inches. And the card base, I created that from an A4 card sheet, so that's 5.75 by 5.75, rather than the 6x6 I had planned for originally. So I'm just keeping my tool in here so I wouldn't close this. I made this a top folding card. I really like top folding cards. And on the inside I added another little corgi, which I just coloured very basically with my coloured pencils. So just a little bit of orange, a little bit of pink in the ears and the tummy. And I added a little bit of my black gel pen for the nose. I think that's really nice when you have that with little creatures. And just because I can, I stamped my favourite birthday stamp. This is the go-to words from Visible Image, but I stamped that in the summertime. I thought this worked nicely with the orange theme. So yeah, I'm really pleased about this. And I think this is a technique you can use for all sorts of occasions, obviously all sorts of numbers. You could even cut names with your dies, and or just an initial maybe, and then basically create a background as if it was pattern cardstock with just your little stamps. I hope you like this video, and if you do, you might want to give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you soon with another video.